Hey there, I'm Ken Carson, one of the owners at Xybix, and I'm here in Lafayette Parish Communications District with Craig, and you're the director, right?
That's correct.
You're the director. And they're in a brand new building, and I keep saying how gorgeous this thing is. It's done really well. But I want to kind of start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about your previous center, the previous room you're in, and because I know it's a massive change to what you have here.
It really is. 1983, Lafayette started its 911 with the director then, Mr. Bill Vincent.
Okay.
And it was in the basement of the courthouse. We have a 7-story courthouse, and they had a basement down there. And actually, it was a bomb shelter, okay, when it was originally built.
Yeah.
And they kind of tried to retrofit 911 there. And, you know, they did what they can. It was the space that was available at the time. And all throughout the years, they kind of continued to retrofit that building. Actually, total 38 years was spent there.
Wow.
Right. We were very fortunate. The director at the time, the board members, and the staff realized, they saw Lafayette growing, realized the expansion that it had, and knew that a new building was going to be needed. Many years ago, they started saving money. They called it a future projects fund.
Okay.
And every year they would put money into that. And 2015, Mr. Vincent had retired. I was hired as the director, and that was one of the projects they had on the table. They wanted to get this building built, said, we have the funds available to do that, and gave me that project.
Okay. And that actually answers my next question. I was going to ask you how you got the funding, because I noticed you guys have some federal stuff in here, and I was asking you earlier, so you didn't need to get any federal grants or anything. You kind of have your own independence here with funding it yourself.
That's correct. We are funded through a surcharge through any device, telephone that can dial 911. And like I said before, many years ago, they realized this was going to be needed, and every year would put some money in that future projects fund, waited till they had enough money to be able to fund a building, and then began the project. And it just so happened to happen in the cusp of technology changing. We're talking text to 911,
Yep.
video to 911. So all that equipment also needed to be purchased for the new building.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That's good. It just happened to be good timing on that. That's been a massive change. So I'm super impressed with the building, but tell me about how you guys went about learning about your best practices. And I know you traveled a little bit and looked at other centers. So tell me a little bit about that, and maybe something that really stood out to you. You're like, wow, that just makes sense. We got to do that.
It was just an occurrence of so many different buildings. We knew that it was important to talk to people that had built buildings and get their experience to do that. So we did. We traveled really all throughout the United States, definitely through Louisiana, into Florida, and talked to as many people as we can, went to their center, and we tried to take what we liked out of those centers and bring it to our center. And of course, we asked the basic questions is, what did you like best? What wouldn't you do? And we kind of used that to see if it would fit our building. And really, this is a mesh of everything that we learned over those years and tried to implement that into this building.
Yeah, I was getting the tour earlier. You have 2 generators, you got natural gas, you got diesel, you're ready for that. And you guys are obviously in the hurricane zone, so you have to plan. So how long can you guys stay independent here and not need any outside support?
That would probably depend on, I guess what you're trying to say, the generator. You're correct. We have 2 generators, and almost in every aspect, we have a backup and then a backup to that backup.
Right.
Okay, that's also something that was prevalent in all the other 911 centers and PSAPs. 2 things they told us to do. The first one was don't build it too small so that you'll outgrow it in 5 to 10 years. And secondly was make sure you have enough storage. Going through comparisons, we looked at the generators, and we knew we were going to have 2. One generator, we were going to have another backup. Mm-hmm. And there was a debate, which was better, natural gas or diesel? And we saw the pros and cons of each one, and we thought, well, it would be prudent to have one of each, and now you have 2 different sources. Kind of like the phone lines we have coming in this 911 center. They are fiber, but we have fiber coming from 2 different, entering at 2 different locations, and actually from 2 different companies. So if that fiber from one company we'd cut, it dropped all the way down to the other one.
Yeah.
Our CAD, it's also cloud-based. And that was something we wanted. It helped us become mobile. If anything would happen to this center environmentally or something like that, we can still log into a CAD through our mobile operations center or just our backup center.
Wow, yeah, and that's recent too in the technology out there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
The cloud base is recent, and a lot of CAD vendors are going to that. That was something that was new at first. A lot of companies do it, but it's coming into the first responders.
Yeah, the security's there and the reliability now. So
that's correct.
Yeah. So at what phase did you start bringing in your console vendors? I know you talked to Xybex and you talked to some of the other ones out there. And I think everyone makes a good product, so it's a tough decision process. But at what phase did you bring us in? Because I've been in some projects where they're doing a new building and we get the room and it's like, no, it's too small. And then somebody wants a change order to fit what they really need to fit for the next 15, 20 years. You guys seem to do it right. So what phase did you start talking to us and making sure this room was good for 15 to 20 years?
Well, we did our research on vendors that provided consoles very early. And the first thing we wanted to do was find out who had the good reputation. We talked to people that had different types of consoles. Obviously, when we went to these centers, we asked them about their consoles. What did you like? What didn't you like? What was important to us was the service that was available for those consoles, because you're correct, there are a lot out there. Once we got the size of the room, then we started talking with different vendors on what kind of concepts they could design for this room. And really, the model that was designed here, our 911 operators did that. We engaged them and said, what would be best for you? Everyone has something different. Every center is a little different, and they designed this structure. And one of the reasons that we liked Xybex was the way you were able to work with us. You were going to design whatever we wanted, but you also along the way gave us your own ideas and best practices to be able to do that. And looking at everyone, it was the obvious choice and one of the best choices we made for our center. I can definitely tell you, everyone that comes here comments on the consoles and how they look, and once we give them a demonstration on how they work, they're very impressed.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. So you had to go through the RFP process for the consoles, is that right?
That's correct. We put out an RFP for the consoles, and so we got a lot of responses, and we looked at that and we graded them all the same. And once we finished all the grading, Xybex was the top one, and then we actually began negotiations with Xybex, and this is what the outcome was, and we're very pleased.
Yeah, I like this layout because you guys did it a little differently, and I like, so you've got your supervisors in the middle, and then your support staff on the outsides, and you've got more supervision going in the rooms there. But I like how you have the curve stations out here, and they can work together, but then the supervisors are on what we call our straight station in the middle. Real creative layout. I mean, I got to give a hat tip to your people. I thought I've seen every layout out there possible in the past 20 years, but they came up with something new that I'd recommend to somebody else.
They did. Any center that we went to, we did not see this layout, and honestly, I was a little apprehensive when they came up with it, because when it was something new, you look at it, but the more we studied it and the more we talked to them, this center is for them. And so they were very confident and adamant that they thought this would work the best, and so that's what we went with. And obviously, after the fact, we're very pleased that we did.
Yeah. So what are like the top 2 reasons you went with Xybex?
I think the top 2 was the durability that we received from people that had Xybex, and actually the workability information that we received. Number one, from people that had it, saying that the way Xybex worked with you, how professional they were, and that's what we found out when we actually started engaging with Xybex, and we wanted to design this system in this way. They were very engaging with us. They got back with us very quickly. They showed us the design we needed. We had the vision, and we could draw it out ourselves, but Xybex came in and they showed us exactly what it would look like, exactly the colors. That really hit home with us, and really made that final decision.
Yeah. So throughout the process, you had a couple different account managers, but you ended up with Brittany. And so how did she help you through the whole thing? What did she do that made life easier for you guys?
She listened. And really, I think she started understanding what we were trying to accomplish, and she was very responsive. When we needed something, she got back with us very quickly, and we changed several times, whether it was the color or fabrics that we needed for that. There's a lot of choices, and we asked her and Xybex to put a lot of different combinations together because it wasn't something that we knew just by describing it or looking at samples. We asked Xybex to put it together for us, put these colors together for us, and then we even asked them, what do you think would look together? And they would come back with ideas like that. So that type of interaction and working ability between us and them is really made a big difference.
So what do you think was the hardest part of coming up with the design here in this room? What was the toughest hurdle to overcome? Just picking the right design? That seems to be, that's so much thought goes into it, and then you worry, are we going to get it right? Are we going to get it right? Are we going to get it right? And you got to sit down in it sometimes, and I think you guys got it right. It looks great.
I appreciate that. I think once the design was configured, we knew the dimensions of the room, and obviously we knew the sizes of the consoles. Let me tell you what I thought made it a little bit easier. It was because Xybex had the size of the room, and any design or configuration we came up with, they were able to take that, make a model of it, put it right in that room. We knew exactly what we were going to get. So maybe picking the color, picking the materials. There's so many, okay? And you second guess yourself on that to see if it's gonna match everything. I think we had the design configured and down pat in the very beginning. Then it was to put the colors together. So obviously we wanted it to match the rest of the building, what that was going to look like. Some of the materials different because there's a lot of choices like that. I can tell you the amenities that come with it, they were great. It wasn't hard for us because we wanted them all because they were so good. Yeah. So I think there's very few we didn't get, and that was in mind for our operators. We wanted to get the best for them, and I really think we got the best for them with Xybex.
Yeah, great. This is a great color scheme in here, and I talked to Linda about it, and she said she kind of wanted something calming in here. I'm guessing she did most of the color selection, and you had nothing to do with it, or did she let you stick your nose in a little bit?
That's pretty much it.
Okay,
she would engage me a lot. And I was actually the one trying to back away towards a certain thing. I was like, y'all can choose that.
Yeah, I'm horrible at that. I let somebody else choose.
Linda did do that, but we actually let the operations manager and anything that we had, we got input from all the operators. And so we asked them, what do you think? We knew they were the ones who were going to be in here. Right. Myself and Linda come in, we love it. We're not going to spend the 12-hour shifts, the 3 or 4 days in a row sitting at these consoles. So we narrowed it down for them. Yeah. And we probably got to 2 or 3 different colors and two or three different ideas. We ran it by them. They liked this, they chose it, and then we might be able to go run with it.
Great. So how do you think your employees feel when they walk in, when they come into this new building?
From their reaction, I really have to say they love it. They love every aspect of it, specifically coming from the basement of the courthouse, which was commonly known as the dungeon. Yeah. And when you have low ceilings, very tight, the consoles, everything was very outdated. They were older. Obviously, we were saving money. There was no reason to, refurbish them and do that when you were going to come to a new facility. I can tell you some of the things that I noticed that they really love about these consoles is the consoles raised and they can stand up. When you're sitting or you're at a position, let me say for 12 hours, that being able to stand up and change your posture and then sit down when they want. So I've noticed they stand up a lot.
Yeah, I saw that when I walked in here, and you've got one standing right now. I mean, it's fantastic. So I don't hear of government saving money very often, so I'm thrilled that you guys did that. That's fantastic. So how would you recommend another agency start saving money for something like this, or should they just be out, begging for grants? I mean, what's your 2 cents on that?
Well, obviously it depends on your income and your outcome, but if at all possible, they saw that they were going to need a new center, but they didn't wait till it was going to be 2 to 3 years. They saw in the beginning the growth and expansion of Lafayette and said, in 10 to 15 years, this isn't going to work and we're retrofitting this. So if you're saved for 10 to 15 years, you're able to reach that goal. So start saving early if at all possible.
Right.
And any extra funds that we had available, we had that Futures Projects funds. We knew it, we made it a priority, and we had that extra money. And again, they didn't upgrade things, okay? Only when we had to. And so they settled for what they had, knowing that they needed to put that money in there. So I think it's really just it's due diligence. It's a bit of control, and definitely recognizing it early.
Yeah.
I think if they'd have recognized, oh, we need a new center in 4 to 5 years, they wouldn't have had the funds.
Right.
We definitely look for grants and things, and funds that type of way. And I actually we are going to get some grants for some of our generators and things, but. We're proud. We don't owe any money on this building. We're very proud. But I'll have to say, this was the previous administration, Bill Vinson, Linda was part of that, to be able to save those funds.
Oh, that's great. What tips or advice would you give other 911 centers? I guess, what would you do? I mean, you guys did great 15 years out, but the ones that are even just 5 years out, and they might just need a remodel, not a new building. What made you guys successful? So what tips would you give them? What advice?
Do as much research as you can in a lot of different areas. Go visit centers that are new centers that you think may be innovative. Call them, get information from them, because a lot of the technology or even the nuances that we have here, we were able to go to other centers. We saw what they had. We took pieces that we thought that we liked and that would fit us. And we were able to install that here. Very importantly, we talked to our operators. This configuration is really their design. I haven't seen it anywhere else. And if I would have designed it something that I've seen before. They designed it. They believed it was working. They know their workflow, and they knew it was what they thought would best fit them. And so I would do all of those things, all the research, talk to your people, get their input, get their advice, and all along the way, whether it was the color or thing, we engaged them. We wanted them to be part of it. We wanted them to know this is your building, this is your center. So we always got their input and their opinion.
Yeah. I'm assuming every center you called up and said, hey, we want to come check it out and do a tour, they loved having you over, right?
They did.
They like to show off their centers, but I think most importantly in this industry, they like helping you out. So it's a pretty easy process to do that. I think everyone should take advantage of that, whether it's the county over, the state over. I mean, if you're traveling to a trade show and it's in San Antonio, see what's going on, right?
We did that. We talked to vendors, and you're correct. When you would go to a trade show or you go to some type of conference, they have people there all over. We would ask them. If we couldn't visit their center, we would talk to them if they found out they built a new center. If we talked to a vendor and the vendor would say, we just installed some equipment in this center, they have a brand new one, they're here. And we would talk to them, and you're exactly right. We're a very tight-knit group. We know we're here in public safety. We love to share information that we have with each other. We would be proud and love if anybody called us or wanted information about what we have. And everyone had the same attitude about it. We'll show you what we did. It might or might not work for you, but you decide, because obviously everyone has different dynamics, different situations in their center. And like I said, again, we just did our research, talked to as many people we can, talked to as many vendors as we could, and just took bits and pieces and actually put this together.
Well, I want to thank you. I'm kind of humbled when I walk in here because it just looks so great. You guys did a fantastic job. So thank you. Congratulations on it. Just a beautiful building, and this is something I think every dispatcher really deserves, is to have something nice like this to work in, and that's a small percentage out there, but this is great. You guys are tip of the spear.
I appreciate that. I will echo that. I believe that every 911 operator, every dispatcher, every first responder needs the best environment, the best equipment they can have to service the people that they service in that area. We definitely want to thank you and Xybex for working with us and helping us make this center what it is. You're definitely part of it. When you walk in here, this room is one of the ones that gets the most compliment, and that's all they see when they come in. This is you're here. You're part of us. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.